Day 17. The Queen of Heaven in the Kingdom of the Divine Will leaves the temple. Espousal to Saint Joseph, divine mirror in which she summons all those called by God to the conjugal state to mirror themselves. The soul to her celestial mother. Holy Mother, today more than ever I feel the need to be held tightly in the arms of my mother, so that the divine volition which reigns in you may form the sweet enchantment of my will, in order to keep it prostrate and not dare to do anything that not be will of God. Your lessons of yesterday have made me understand the prison in which the human will throws the poor creature, and I fear so much that it may make little visits to me and take up its place in me once again. Therefore, I entrust myself to my mother to watch over me carefully, so that I can be sure of living always by divine will. Lesson of the Queen of Heaven. Cheer up, my child. Take courage and trust in your mother, and make a firm intention to never give life to your will. Oh, how I yearn to hear upon your lips, "My mother, my will is finished, and the divine fiat has its full dominion in me." These are the weapons that give continual death to your will, and win the heart of your mother, so that she might use all the loving arts of mother to have her child live in the kingdom of her mother. For you it will be a sweet death that will give you true life, and for me, it will be the most beautiful victory that I will have in the kingdom of the divine will. Therefore, take courage and trust in me. Lack of trust is of the cowardly, and of those who are not truly decisive in obtaining victory, and therefore are always without arms, and without arms one cannot win. And one is always intermittent and vacillating in doing good. Now, my child, listen to me. I continued my life in the temple and made my little visits up there in my heavenly fatherland. I kept my rights as daughter of making my visits to my divine family, which belonged to me more than a father. But what was not my surprise when, in one of those visits of mine, the divine persons made me understand that it was their will that I go out from the temple by first uniting myself with bonds of espousal, according to the existing custom of those times, with a holy man named Joseph, and withdraw together with him to live in the house of Nazareth. My daughter, in that phase of my life, it seemed, apparently, that God wanted to put me to the test. I had never loved anyone in the world, and since the divine will had its extension in all my being, my human will never had one act of life. Therefore, in me the seed of human love was lacking. How could I love a man? For however great a saint he might be in the human order, it is true that I loved everyone, and the love towards everyone was so much that my love of mother had them written one by one in my heart with indelible characters of fire. But that was all in the divine order. Therefore, human love, compared to divine, can be called shadow, tint, atoms of love. Yet, dear child, what seemed to be a danger and something strange to the sanctity of my life, God made admirable use of it to fulfill his designs and to concede me the grace I longed for so much, that is, that the Word would descend upon the earth. God gave me the safeguard, the defense, the help, so that no one could speak on my account about my integrity. Saint Joseph had to be the cooperator, the guardian, who must take an interest in what little there was of human need, and be the shadow of the heavenly paternity in which our little heavenly family should be formed upon the earth. And so, notwithstanding my surprise, I quickly said, "Fiat," knowing that the divine will would not have done me evil, nor placed my sanctity in jeopardy. Oh, if I had wanted to do one act of my human will, even under the aspect of not wanting to know man, I would have sent to ruins the plans of the coming of the Word upon the earth. Therefore, it is not the diversity of states that endanger sanctity, but the lack of the divine will and the lack of fulfillment of one's own duties, to which God calls the creature. All states are holy, even matrimony, provided that there be the divine will within it, and the exact sacrifice of one's duties, but the greater part are indolent and lazy, and not only do not become holy, but form of the state of each, for some a purgatory, and for some a hell. And so, as I knew I must leave the temple, I did not say a word to anyone, awaiting that God himself would move the external circumstances to make me fulfill his adorable will, as in fact happened. The superiors of the temple called me and told me that it was their will, and according to the custom of those times, I must prepare myself for espousal. I accepted. Miraculously, the choice among so many fell upon Saint Joseph, and so we were espoused, and I left the temple. Therefore I beg you, child of my heart, that in all things you take to heart the divine will alone, if you want the divine designs to be accomplished upon you. The Soul to our Heavenly Queen. Heavenly Queen, your child entrusts herself to you. I want to wound your heart with my trust, and your little child asks you that this wound may always say in your maternal heart, Fiat, fiat, fiat. Little Flower of the Day. Today, to honor me, you will come upon my knees and recite 15 Glory Bees to thank the Lord for all the graces he conceded me through the 15 years of my life, and especially for having given me a man so holy as was Saint Joseph. Exclamation. Powerful Queen, give me arms to go to battle and make me win the will of God.